Well, hey folks, I am Nick Slavik. Oh, wait a second. There we go. Well, I am Nick Slavik. I'm the proprietor of the Nick Slavik Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It's a weekly live Facebook show where I use my over 2 decades of experience as a painter, a craftsman, lover of homes, and lover of coatings to answer any of your questions, whether you're a homeowner or you're a professional. This week, I did not have enough time. We had a jam-packed day Friday for I couldn't fit in an Ask a Painter, so I am here. It's Saturday. I'm in Chicago. The PDCA, the Painting and Decorating Contractors of America, in conjunction with that, a forum called the Craftsmanship Forum, which is a selected group of people from the PDCA that meet once a year to get together, share stories about their craft, hone their craft, share knowledge, improve the processes, and there's much less talk about production here and much more talk about, who's the best, what are we doing to elevate the craft. So it's been a very interesting couple days here. Flew in Wednesday, it's Saturday, I'll be leaving home for today. The most important thing about these events is perspective for me. By this time, I've been a painter for 24 years. I've had my own business for 10, and the processes are good. They can always be improved, but the processes I'm comfortable with where they're at now, and I'm comfortable with what's planned for them in the future. But now I just need perspective. And a good example of the perspective that I got this weekend and a couple months ago at the Residential Forum, a group of residential house painting contractors. Take for instance, 2 years ago was the first time I actually talked to another painter. So you think you're doing really well, you think your quality's high, you think your processes are down. You meet somebody else who is blowing you out of the water on some sort of process. And it makes you have a crisis of faith, but it also fires you up, and you come back. And I feel for my apprentices after every time I come back home for one of these things, because I am chock full with a whole bunch of the greatest ideas on earth, and I intend to implement them very quickly and rapidly once I get back. So a perfect example of this perspective is, I'll tie this into the PDCA Contractor question of the week. I got a couple questions this week about, I'm a one-man, I'm a two-man outfit. What do I do? I want to get bigger. I want to get some more trucks. I want to get some more people. I want to do some more work. I want to do all this and that. And the perspective that I gained from a couple days like this is, are there plateaus to businesses? Is 1 person to 2? Do you double your work? Is 5 people to 10? Do you double your work? What you'll find in businesses like this, you look at a one-man painting outfit, and your typical margin at the end of the year is probably 60 to 70%. Walmart probably runs on a 1% margin, but the net revenue is much different. So you make up for a smaller profit with bulk of work, and that's the extreme of it. But there are levels to painting businesses, and talking to other contractors from around North America, you see guys with 8 men, you see guys with 23 men. One of them does X amount of work. The next guy does 2x because he has 23 people. At the end of the year, you might find out that they actually take home the same amount of income. And then you start collecting these data points, and that gives you your perspective to say, okay, well, either one person is super efficient, or one person needs some process improvement. Is the extra 14 people you add to that to get the same amount of money at the end of the year good? And all of a sudden you're opening yourself up to risk. When you add a whole pile of people and trucks and equipment and things like that, things go wrong. You're opening yourself up to risk, and if there's not a reward in that for you, you have to sort of assess what you're comfortable with. And the biggest piece of perspective that the Residential Forum and the Craftsmanship Forum this year have sort of given me is the fact that there is not a right form of contracting business, especially with painting businesses. You'll find that if you meet enough painting contractors, their personality will directly dictate the size, the shape, the scope, ethos of a company. And sometimes it's planned, sometimes it's unplanned. And you start collecting enough of those data points, and you sort of realize, like, what you're good at and what you're bad at. You know, like goldfish in a bowl, they'll only grow to the size of whatever the bowl is, and everybody's self-limiting in some way. So the process over the last 2 years for me has been finding out, you know, what am I good at, what am I bad at, again, bouncing perspective off of other contractors, and then saying, well, do we need to improve the bad, or do we just say, well, that's fine, that's going to be diminishing returns, or do we just say, here's what I'm really good at, and let's maximize that to minimize what you're bad at. So it's been, the last 2 years have been a huge learning experience for me here, and I sit here in one of the parks. The big chrome bean is right behind me here. I sit here today with a mouthful of ideas. Every time I come here, sometimes you show up to these things and you think, man, I am killing it. I am doing so good. I'm so proud of my apprentices. We're turning out such good work. We got plenty of business coming. It's exciting. Everything's moving in the right direction. And you come here and you're humbled a lot of the times. And it points out the things that you need to go back and fix, or things that you need to sort of preempt and look forward to in the future. So when I get those questions, the PDCA Contractor Question of the Week, the Painting and Decorating Contractor of America Question of the Week, when somebody says, you know, I got 1 man, I got 2 man, I got 3, what do we do next? Just start doing it now. Take one person on, train that person so they can be semi-autonomous, they can work on their own, or at least to your comfort level, and then take another guy on. But don't start going on a spree of building this overhead around you. The number of trucks you have should never be a bragging right. Trucks don't make you money, they cost you money. So my ethos about my business is, you know, where some companies are a standing army. It's a slow-moving, expensive sort of thing, and they hope to make up for it in bulk of work, in quantity, not quality. I consider myself, or at least what I've tried to make, like a special forces unit. We're highly selected people, very highly trained, skilled, get out there, they do the most they can do with the smallest amount of equipment, light on their feet, mobile, agile, things like that, and it's been working out very well. And you know, you could either buy a bunch of stuff to grow your business, or in my mind, the two options are buying a bunch of stuff or then putting your effort in. And what I've seen over the last couple of years is that human nature is such that most people tend to start buying things to help their business instead of putting their own effort in. So I've said, well, if I see the bulk of people sort of adding things to their business, I'm going to add my experience and my effort to the business. So that's sort of been what I've been thinking about over the last couple of years. And somebody had asked me, you know, what's your biggest takeaway? What's your goal after you go to something like this? And right now, it seems that there's a huge divide in the painting industry, at least from the data points that I have, from the people I run into. You are either a 1 or 2 or 3 man outfit, and you're doing very high quality work on a low quantity scale, or you have a whole bunch of people doing tons of work at a lower quality level. Now, not all jobs require historic restoration craftsmanship. You know, if you're doing homeowner association projects, condo repaints, apartment repaints, it doesn't require the same amount of effort as hanging wallpaper in the New York Stock Exchange, or preserving antique murals. We all know that. So my goal now is to say, I think one of the biggest selling points of my business is the quality we put out. If you were a betting person and you were to say, well, then what do you do with that? Well, you would say, well, the industry average is you'll probably just have a couple guys and you'll probably do the same work and you'll never grow, and hopefully your prices can increase, hopefully you don't have a recession. My goal for this next couple years, and probably over the next 2 years, is I want to maintain my level of quality and just keep adding to it. And I want to see where the upper threshold is, where I feel like obviously revenue and things like that will come with it, but also I'm going to have to start taking a different role in my own business. And it is a known quantity that the number of defects will go up. When you do more work with more people, the number of callbacks go up. And the one, again, another wonderful piece of perspective, I'm slowly coming to realize that just like your personality dictates your business, one of those aspects of your personality is something that I started calling the can I sleep at night index, where there is a certain thing where, to me, any callback keeps me up at night. And I know it's unreasonable to want no callbacks. I have a lot of apprentices working for me, and things just happen. Even if it's somebody leaving a coffee cup on a job site and somebody has to go back and get it, it's unreasonable to expect that you'll never have a callback. But how far can we push this? How much good work can we do while creating jobs for these young people, staffing up my apprentice program, creating careers and creating love of craft and all this other goodwill that I've had and was lucky enough to get after being a contractor in my community for all these years. And I want these young people that may not know what to do with their life to at least have this and know that even if they don't stay with me forever, they're going to walk away with a skill that's transferable. You don't need a lot of tools, you don't need a lot of equipment, but the ethos of painting, the ethos of taking your time and doing something right the first time can be transferred to anything. So I think that will be it for today. I'm going to hop in an Uber here, get to the airport, and we're getting after it. On Monday, we start a brand new house. Last Thursday, we finished up a beautiful 1800s restoration, and now we're going to get the bends because we're going to a brand new constructed house to do a bunch of fine finishes. So look forward. The next big event that I'll be going to is the PDCA National Expo, which will be in Texas. It will be in let's see, Galveston, Texas, and as of right now, I'm creating another one of my master's class on super high-end finishes in new construction while maintaining production and time scales and things like that. So everybody look forward to that. I'll roll through some questions here. Thanks to all my Brazilian friends down there. You guys are just awesome. I love it. I love all the interactions we have here, and love your enthusiasm for here. So this is awesome, man. I really enjoy talking with you guys, and I assume that the PDCA is akin to what you guys have, you know, the movement for the Brazilian painter down there. It would be great if somehow we could mesh the two, because your enthusiasm is something that that would really rub off on us and a lot of the painters here. So thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate everything you do. Thank you for all the questions. I got a bombardment of questions this week, and it was just a fantastic time. Master's class was a hit. Tons and tons of discussion. I had a 2-hour time slot. It took me about an hour and 50 minutes to get through a third of my presentation. We had so many people discussing, adding to it questions, and then we kind of had to stream through the last 2/3 of it in the last 10 or 15 minutes. So it was kind of fun though, and I got some great feedback, and I'm going back and I'm making improvements not only to my master's class but to my processes based on the feedback I've got here. So everybody else, have a good weekend. I do appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next week.